So, today we're going to deconstruct a pretty wild new category of beverage, something that calls itself an intellectual functional drink. It's called smart tea, and its whole reason for being is this blend of neurobiology and plant science. Let's really dig into the formula.
Look, we all get tea, right? It's comforting, it's a daily ritual, and yeah, it can give you a nice little boost. But what if it was more? What if every single ingredient was chosen not just for taste, but for a super specific effect on your brain and body? That's the question we're diving into today. What happens when your tea starts to think like a pharmaceutical?
And here's a perfect example. This is their herbal blend. And just look at that label. It's talking about immune architecture and a system reset. I mean, that's language you'd expect to see in a lab report, not on a box of tea. It immediately tells you something different is going on here.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at what this new formula for tea actually is. Then, we'll get into the guiding principles, the philosophy behind it all. After that, the fun part. We'll deconstruct the 4 different blends. And we'll wrap up by looking at what this all means for the future of functional drinks.
Okay, let's jump right in with Section 1, a new formula for tea. And we are definitely going beyond the traditional brew.
This quote from the creators really says it all, doesn't it? The point isn't just to make a tasty drink. The point is to create a tool that's been engineered for a very specific and predictable effect on your mind and body. It's where plant science, brain science, and even the science of taste all meet.
Which brings us to Section 2, the guiding principles. You can kind of think of this as the operating system that runs the entire product line.
So, the core science they're using here is this amazing field called pharmacology. And all that means is the study of medicines that come from natural sources, like plants. But, and this is key, this isn't just about general herbal wisdom. It's about drilling down to the molecular level to understand exactly how the active compounds in these plants work in our bodies.
And this slide just nails that distinction. A traditional tea is a blend. It's put together for flavor, maybe some tradition, and a general sense of usefulness. But what they're doing here is what they call an architecture. It is built from the ground up for a systemic effect based on the molecular mechanism of every single ingredient delivered in precise dosages. It really is the difference between a folk song and a symphony.
All right, time for Section 3, deconstructing the 4 blends. This is where we get to see all those principles in action.
So first up is Smart Tea Black. This one is all about neurometabolic focus. The big idea here is to manage your brain state and your metabolism to give you this really clear, sustained energy. You get the focus, but you skip that awful jittery crash you get from other stimulants. And this just shows how deep their philosophy goes. Even the base of the tea is a functional choice. They're using whole leaf tea, not the dust and cuttings you find in most tea bags. Why? Because whole leaves release their caffeine slowly, in a controlled way. It creates what they call a soft neural platform, instead of that harsh, sudden stimulant shock. Okay, next we've got Smart Tea Green, and what's really interesting here is how they reframe the whole idea of detox. It's not about a harsh cleanse, it's about cellular longevity. The goal is to support your body's own natural renewal processes, not to stress it out or deplete it. And again, the base is everything. For this one, they use shade-grown green tea leaves. Growing them in the shade actually increases the L-theanine, which is that amazing amino acid that gives you that calm but focused feeling. It also makes the catechins, the stuff that can make green tea bitter, less harsh. The result is a profile that's balancing, not just stimulating. It's all in service of that longevity goal. And here is a fantastic example of what they call a functional module. In the green blend, they use tremella, or snow mushroom. The polysaccharides in this mushroom are said to literally bind water at the cellular level, supporting that whole matrix that exists between your cells. The effect is something they call internal hydration, so you get this deep, cellular moisture without feeling bloated. Pretty cool, right?
Moving on to Smart Tea White. Now this one has a really unique purpose, neuroskin and anti-stress. It's actually designed to work on the connection between your nervous system and your skin to help reduce all that reactivity that comes from being stressed out.
So to do that, the base has to be just right. They use silver needle white tea, which is one of the most delicate teas out there. It's barely processed, so it's super high in L-theanine and has an extremely low stimulant effect. The source material describes it as creating a background of silence, reducing all that mental noise, but letting you stay perfectly clear. It's anti-stress, but without making you sleepy.
Now this formula has an ingredient that might make you raise an eyebrow, colloidal silver. But
And this is important. They're very clear that its use here is totally different from what you might be thinking.
It is not being used as some harsh antiseptic. Instead, they frame it as a microbiome regulator. It's used in an incredibly low concentration with the idea of gently balancing the body's microbial environment.
So why on earth would that be in an anti-stress tea? Well, here's the logic. We know that chronic stress can really mess with our microbiome. And we also know that our microbiome has a huge influence on how our skin reacts to things. So the idea is that by gently helping to regulate that microbial balance, the formula can help calm the whole system down, from the inside out.
And last but not least, we have Smart Tea Herbal. This one is designed to be the total system reset button. It's for reset and immune architecture, perfect for recovery, for rebuilding, especially at the end of the day. And the absolute key to the herbal blend is that there's no actual tea in it. It's made completely without the tea plant, Camellia sinensis. That means zero caffeine, zero stimulation to your central nervous system. This creates a totally quiet background, which allows all the other active, restorative ingredients to do their work. And that brings us to our final section, number 4, the future of function. Let's zoom out and synthesize this whole big picture. So here they are, all 4 blends summarized. And when you look at them all together like this, a really clear theme pops out. Each one of these formulas is designed as a very distinct tool for a highly specific purpose. You've got sustained energy, cellular regulation, neuroskin balance, and a system reset. It's a huge shift away from just thinking about flavor and toward targeting a precise biological effect. And that really leaves us with this final thought. This whole approach treats a beverage less like a simple drink and more like a piece of biological programming. So it makes you wonder, right? Are we moving toward a future where our drinks are designed with the same precision as our software? It's a really fascinating glimpse at what might be coming next.